The front gate creaked as I pushed it open. My heart swelled with quiet pride. This was supposed to be my fresh start. A small cottage tucked away near the lake, white shutters, a porch swing that groaned like it had stories of its own. But the sound that greeted me wasn't the song of birds or the hum of summer cicadas. It was voices. "Fi, and this will be the dining room," my son's voice carried through the open windows. "Plenty of space for a table, don't you think, Jenna?" I froze on the porch. My hand, still gripping the key, trembled. Through the window I saw them, my son Caleb, his wife Jenna, Jenna's mother Loretta, and even one of Jenna's friends, their eyes wide with admiration. Caleb was gesturing proudly, like some realtor showing off a new listing. "Where's the paperwork?" Jenna's friend asked. "We already decided," Caleb said smoothly. "Mom will sign it over soon enough." The words slammed into me harder than any storm. The house I had scraped and saved for, secretly, quietly, for years, was being paraded like a prize Caleb had earned. My son, my only child, acting as though my sacrifice was his entitlement. I didn't storm in. I didn't shout. I simply stood there, invisible behind the curtain, listening to them plan how my house would be redecorated, remodeled, refitted. Jenna wanted the kitchen redone in marble. Loretta mused about knocking down a wall. Caleb chuckled. "We'll make it modern. Mom won't mind." They laughed. My vision blurred. My chest tightened with a rage I hadn't known I carried. But I didn't walk in. Not yet. I waited until they finished their little tour, filed out, and drove off with smiles as if they had claimed a kingdom. Then I stepped inside. The air still smelled faintly of fresh paint and pine. My footsteps echoed on the wooden floorboards. I pressed my palm against the wall, grounding myself. This was mine. And by the time they came back, they would find out exactly how much. If you're watching this, drop a comment. Hit like and subscribe, because betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it wears the face you once kissed goodnight. My name is Evelyn Hart. I am 68 years old, and I bought this house in secret because for once in my life, I wanted something that belonged to me. You see, Caleb wasn't born into wealth. He was born into struggle. His father left when he was 6, and every bill, every doctor's appointment, every scraped knee, it was on me. I worked nights at the factory, mornings at the library. I skipped meals so he could have lunch money. Caleb was a bright boy, smart, charismatic. But as he grew older, ambition twisted into something else, a hunger, a belief that he was owed. When he met Jenna, that belief hardened. Jenna came from a family that measured love in square footage and brand names. Her mother, Loretta, never missed a chance to point out what Caleb deserved. "He's smart," Loretta once told me at dinner, swirling her wine glass. "He just needs a proper house to build his family in. You've done enough. Let him take it from here." Take it. That word stung. But I said nothing. Mothers often swallow words for peace. So when I bought this house, under a trust, in my own name, with cash I'd saved quietly over decades, I told no one. Not Caleb, not Jenna, not Loretta. I wanted one corner of this world untouched by greedy hands. But greed has a way of sniffing out secrets. That night, after they left, I called a locksmith. "Change every lock," I said. "Tonight." By midnight, every door clicked shut with a fresh key. Mine alone. Yet even as the locks turned, my heart ached. Was I protecting myself or preparing for war with my own son? The next morning, Caleb came over. He didn't knock. He pounded. "Mom, open the door!" I opened it halfway, chain still on. His face was red, jaw tight. "What's going on?" he demanded. "Jenna said the locks are different." "That's right," I replied calmly, "because this house belongs to me." His eyes widened. "We're family. Of course it belongs to all of us." "No, Caleb, it doesn't." Behind him, I saw Jenna's car idling at the curb, her mother in the passenger seat, glaring like a queen robbed of her throne. "You're being selfish," Caleb hissed. "You don't even need all this space. Jenna and I have plans, kids, a family." My hands shook, but my voice did not. "And what about me, Caleb? When did my family stop including me?" He had no answer. That evening, I sat at the kitchen table, the deed spread before me. My lawyer's number was highlighted on the folder. Mr. Delgado, an old friend, had helped me set this purchase up quietly, legally, without loopholes for anyone to exploit. Still, the betrayal cut deep. My son hadn't just overstepped. He had plotted, smiling all the while, to strip me of something I had worked for in silence. I sipped my tea and stared at the keys in my hand. This wasn't just about property. It was about dignity. And I was done surrendering mine. 3 days later, Jenna showed up uninvited. Loretta was with her, of course. They didn't bother to smile. "You're making a mistake," Loretta said, striding across the porch. "This house should belong to Caleb's family. You've had your life. It's his turn now." Her words dripped entitlement, as though decades of my sacrifice meant nothing. I stood firm. "This house is mine, not yours, not his. Mine." Jenna crossed her arms, smirking. "You think Caleb will forgive you for this?" Her voice echoed like a threat. And that's when I realized my son wasn't just complicit, he was their weapon. That night, I lay awake, listening to the wind creak through the shutters. My chest ached with the weight of betrayal. I thought of Caleb as a boy, running through sprinklers, laughing, asking me to chase him. That boy was gone, replaced by a man who believed love meant entitlement. But if it was war they wanted, they had underestimated me. Because this wasn't just a house, it was my line in the sand. The morning sun painted the shutters gold, but my heart felt heavier than stone. I sat at the kitchen table, the deed spread neatly before me, and dialed Mr. Delgado. His voice came on steady, reliable. "Evelyn," he said. "I wondered when you'd call." I exhaled. "They think this house is theirs. Caleb paraded it like a trophy." He paused. "Do you want me to make sure there's no way he or anyone can touch it?" "Yes," I whispered. "I want it airtight, bulletproof." "Then I'll file the trust amendment today," he said. "Everything remains in your name until your death. No transfer, no contest, not unless you choose." My hands trembled, but for the first time in days, relief cracked through the storm. But Caleb didn't wait quietly. That evening, he returned. No Jenna this time, no Loretta, just my son, eyes dark, face drawn. "Mom, please," he said, standing in my doorway. "You don't understand. Jenna's counting on this. Her mom, too. They've already made plans." "Plans with my house?" I asked coldly. He rubbed his forehead. "You don't need all this space. Why not just give it to us now? You'll still live here, but it'll be ours to build a family." His words felt rehearsed, practiced, like Loretta's hand was pushing them from his lips. I shook my head. "Do you even hear yourself? I bled for years so you could have your shot at life. And now you stand here asking me to hand over the one thing I built for myself?" "It's not like that," he said quickly. "Yes," I cut in sharply. "It's exactly like that." Silence. He stared at me, jaw tight, fists clenched. For a flicker of a second, I didn't see my son. I saw a stranger. "You're choosing this house over me," he said bitterly. "No," I whispered, my throat thick. "I'm choosing myself, for once." Days passed. Jenna stopped visiting, but Loretta didn't. She cornered me at the market, sneering beneath her wide-brimmed hat. "You're cruel," she spat. "Selfish. An old woman clinging to bricks when you should be thinking of legacy." I looked her dead in the eye. "Legacy isn't built by thieves, Loretta. And it certainly isn't handed to ingrates." Her nostrils flared, but she walked away, heels clicking sharp against the pavement. 1 week later, a letter arrived. An attorney's letterhead. A petition. Caleb and Jenna requesting joint ownership, claiming family rights, and intended inheritance. My hands shook as I read, but then I smiled grimly. Mr. Delgado met me at the courthouse. He laid the papers flat, adjusting his glasses. They have no case. This house is yours, legally and fully, but we'll make sure the court dismisses it swiftly. In the hearing room, Caleb couldn't meet my eyes. Jenna sat beside him, arms crossed, whispering in his ear. Loretta sat behind them, smirking like victory was already hers. When the judge ruled, dismissed. Property remains solely under Evelyn Hart's name. Loretta's smirk cracked. Jenna's face turned pale. Caleb's shoulders sagged. And me? I stood tall, every wrinkle on my face a map of survival. Afterward, Caleb followed me outside. "Why'd you do this?" he asked, voice low, hurt. "Why'd you?" I countered. He swallowed. "They pressured me. Jenna, her mom. They said it was only fair, that you'd understand." "Fair?" I repeated bitterly. "Fair was me skipping meals so you could eat. Fair was me working double shifts while you went to prom in a suit I couldn't afford. Fair was me buying this house with my own 2 hands, not asking you for a dime." His lips parted, but no words came. For once, he couldn't argue. "Mom," he whispered finally, "I just wanted to give Jenna the life she wanted." "And what about the life I wanted, Caleb?" I asked. The silence that followed was answer enough. Weeks turned into months. Caleb visited less. Jenna barely spoke to me at all. Loretta? She avoided me entirely, her pride too brittle to withstand defeat. But the house stood firm, my sanctuary, my line in the sand. I planted roses by the porch, their thorns sharp, their blooms bold. I painted the shutters a brighter white. Every morning, I sat with my coffee on the swing, breathing in the peace I had earned. Caleb called sometimes, voice strained, still caught between 2 worlds. A mother and a wife, both demanding loyalty. But I no longer bent myself into silence. "Come when you're ready," I told him once. "Not for the house, for me." And maybe, just maybe, he would. But whether he did or not, I had chosen something I'd never dared to before. Myself. Have you ever faced betrayal? Share your story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Revenge is refusing silence forever.